I'm going to start by telling you what playtesting is not, because there's some confusion about this. Playtesting is necessary because no matter how experienced designers are, their initial game is not going to be very good. In fact, often it's going to suck. It won't work exactly as they expected. And often it won't work anywhere near the way they expected. But it's not focus groups. A focus group is a situation where you get people together and ask them what they want. That's generally a bad idea because it's widely known that what people say they want, or what people say they're going to do or would do in a particular situation, is not what proves to be the case when you observe their actions. So focus groups don't tell you anything useful. And to reinforce this, I have a quote here from Tim Sweeney, who's the founder of Epic Games, Unreal Tournament, Gears of War, and so forth. Well, there are really two ways to get feedback from customers. One is to ask them what they want, and you never really get a useful answer from there. They'll tell you they'll tell you they want the current thing they have, plus some fixes to it that are fairly obvious. What is really useful is building the game you want to build and building it the way you want to build it, then sitting down a bunch of people in front of it, then watching them play, seeing where they get stuck, what they think of it, and just getting their feedback that way. Customer feedback is extraordinarily useful in fine-tuning something that exists. So if you use it to that extent, it's a very healthy and important part of a development cycle. In other words, don't use focus groups, use playtesting. But playtesting is not bug testing. Bug testing is something that's unique to software. You don't have bug testing in tabletop games. In bug testing, you're trying to identify where the game does not work the way it's designed to work because there's some bug in the software, some glitch. The software is not working right. And that's always the case, that software won't work right in certain situations. You just want to avoid the really bad cases that really mess up the game. And you could also call this function testing. Playtesting, in contrast, is about whether the game is enjoyable, whether the game achieves its goal of being an enjoyable activity. And this is sometimes called fun testing. So you're not considering whether the software has glitches, you're considering how well the game works for the player. And video game companies used to spend a lot of time on bug testing and almost no time on user testing, gameplay testing, and that resulted in lots of games that didn't have many bugs but that were poor games. We're in a much better situation nowadays. Video game makers have realized that fun testing is very important. Also, modern software creation methods have emphasized getting the software in a playable state or usable state as soon as possible so that the users can try it out and you can find out whether it actually does what it needs to do for them. And this is in contrast to the old method of waterfall development, where you didn't actually get a usable version of the software till near the end of the process, and then it was too late to make changes, especially big changes, before your deadline. Playtesting also isn't validation testing. It's not there to pat somebody on the back. It also has to be taken into account by the powers that be. There's no point in testing if you're not going to change the game when the game is found to be inadequate. Unfortunately, this happens a lot. I have a friend who used to work at IBM, and his job was to test software and find ways to break it, which makes him quite a good playtester of games as well. But in his experience, often they would find ways that the software wasn't working, but they couldn't get it changed before it was released. He was actually shocked one day when the people who tested the software reported that it just wasn't ready to release, and the person in charge said, okay, we're going to delay the release. Unfortunately, release dates are often determined by what they call in the video game industry suits from corporate level, and not by the people who are actually developing the game. And you'll notice that the companies that make really good games like Blizzard are quite willing and have the funds to delay the release of a game for 6 months when the testing shows it's not good enough yet, or even to cancel the game entirely if testing shows it's not good enough. Unfortunately, most studios don't have those funds in reserve, and they have to get the game out, and the result is it may not be a very good game. So, playtesting is not bug testing, it's not validation testing, it isn't focus groups, it's testing an existing game to make sure the game plays well. And it is the heart of game design.